Good morning and welcome to this week's business updates from the consulting room. And as you'd probably expect, a bit of a budget 2021 edition. So let's start with what Chancellor Rishi Sunak talked about yesterday. So the backdrop to the budget in the UK is very important. So what's the environment and the market that's happening around us? Inflation is growing and we're expecting it to go above 4%. Into next year. We've also got taxation now being 36.2% of the economy, which is the highest level since 1950s. So really significant. And the spending as proportion of the economy is now at 42%. Again, highest sustained levels since 1970. So that's the backdrop to what was talked about yesterday. What's impacting the income? So in terms of the country's income, what is positively impacting that going forward? Well, unemployment, if you remember back sort of 18 months ago, we were talking about 12% unemployment. It now looks like that's not going to go as high as 5.2%, which means more people at work, more people earning money, more people paying tax. So that will have a real positive on the income, and of course not spending as much on people out of work as well, so that has a positive income. The economy is expected to grow by 6.5% this year and another 6% next year, so a growth in the economy again will mean more income into the treasury. And wages have gone up by 3.4% on last year. Again, more earnings, more tax income. So from the government's perspective, that is really good news when they're setting out their budget. They then looked at what they're going to spend, their expenditure priorities, and one of the big announcements was that they're going to spend 150 billion more in this parliament for the departments, the different departments within the government. So there was a lot of talk about how much that would be, but real terms growth of nearly 4%, so significant investment. And then they've looked at what the cost savings opportunity are. So obviously things where maybe income is not going to be as high and they're not spending money, but they're not getting the same income. So business rates, obviously from businesses, they're going to retain the business rate stance as it is today, but they are investing to help business rates in retail, hospitality and leisure, taking their rates down by up to 50%. Up to £110,000. And if you do some improvements on your property, you will not have the rates increased on that property for the first 12 months after the work is done. So basically it's supporting you increasing those quality of the properties. They've also cancelled the planned duty rise. And they're changing the taxes on alcohol, although this isn't coming until 2023 in terms of the new system, but they are reducing pints of beer, which was last week's on business updates, but this they are increasing red wine or higher alcohol products, so just keep an eye on that. So that's those are the things that the government have done. And a big thing for us all in business is that they're increasing the minimum wage by 6.6% to £9.50 from April. So we've got a few months to wait for this to come in. And you'll see on this slide that all different levels of age and even apprenticeships are seeing a significant increase in their wage, which is great news for the working part of the people in this country. And obviously as a business owner, that means you need to start thinking about how that impacts your business. What are the things that's going to impact, whether you have to save costs or whether you have to increase prices, something that we regularly talk about in terms of gross profit and the prices. So the big question for us as small businesses, what is the date of your business budget? When are you going to deliver it? And what are you going to think about before you deliver a budget? Because a budget is not just for the government. It's not just for big corporate. It's about everybody forecasting. You should really do a home forecast, a home budget. What can you afford to spend in your own home? But we're talking about business. So for your business, Are you going to look at the environment and the market? What's happening around you? Who's coming into your market? Who's leaving your market? What's the investment? What's going on in your town? And then your income. Where are you going to bring your income? What are those products and services that you sell that you will sell more of? What are the ones that aren't as relevant and you're going to sell less of? How much are you going to be selling them for? Can you sell them for a bit more? Obviously, inflation's there. Definitely people are expecting price rises. So can you actually squeeze a little bit more out of your consumers? And what's your expenditure? Where are you going to spend the money? Do you have to spend some money on your property? Do you have to spend some training and development on your team? And where are you going to save costs? Obviously, costs are increasing. So where can you shop around for better utilities, better insurance? Is your banking at the right cost? Where can you save money? And then where do you need to borrow? What are your borrowing requirements? If you're going to grow your business, is your cash flow going to stand just from turnover and profit? Or can you actually borrow money to boost your business? So we had a really interesting budget from the Chancellor yesterday, but what would be more interesting is you doing a budget for your business for 2022 and looking at how your business can thrive and grow next year. Moving away from the budget, I just thought I'd talk to you about contrails. What are contrails? Contrails are the condensation trails left by aircraft. And the reason I raise this is it's really interesting about how what's perceived is a big problem, there may actually be a small change that can have a huge impact. And in business, we quite often think about the big things we've got to change. We talk about, small steps, but actually what can you do that is small impact in terms of day to day, but can have a huge impact on your business? So these contrails, which are left by airlines when they're flying at a certain speed, at a certain altitude, and when the weather around them is at the perfect temperature and enough water in the air. So this is why you don't see them with every plane that flies. What they're finding is that actually 57% of aviation climate is caused by these because of the radiation caused by these condensation trails. And actually, if the planes make a change in their altitude, they actually will reduce that. So 2% of flights, by changing their altitude, could have a staggering 59%. So says Dr. Mark Steckler from Imperial College London. So it gets me thinking, what can you do in your business? What small change can you make that can have a huge impact? Have a think about it. Go through what you do. Find something that can change it and make an impact. So finally, just talk you through next week. We've got our 7 Essential Business Skills free workshop, 4th of November at 1 p.m. We've got the 5 finance numbers business owners need to know on the 18th at 9 a.m. And we'll be starting our next business resilience and growth program, fully funded by Newark and Sherwood District Council in January. It's specifically focused on construction and manufacturing sector businesses and includes a £5,000 grant to help you with your growth. So if you'd like more details on any of those, contact me or David on the numbers and email here. Have a great week and look forward to speaking to you over the next few days.